Hi everyone, my name is Dee Roussel, also known as Deja, and today we're going to talk about books that give me spring vibes. When I think of spring, I think of all these new beginnings and just all of like the flowers and plants that are going to be growing. So these are just a few books that give me those kind of vibes. Some of these I have read and other ones I haven't. It's mainly based on the cover that I think it gives me spring vibes. But without further ado, let's get into this video. The first one that I'm going to put on this list is That My Dearest Love by Sula Sullivan. And this one, even though I didn't really enjoy it, I think it does give me those spring vibes. This one is a cozy Regency inspired fantasy. This one follows Prairie, who is this girl who grew up on an island, and she's taken away from her home to go marry this guy who is known as like the rake, and it's kind of their love story but kind of not. There's two reasons why I think that it fits into like the spring vibes, and one of them is the cover. I feel like the cover is just very flowery and very just pretty, and like this girl's just wearing a dress, and I feel like it just fits the spring vibe. The next reason that I put it on this list is because since Prairie is leaving her home, she is starting a new life, and like I said, I do think that spring is very big on the new beginnings, and I feel like since Prairie is going into this new town, I think it does bring up all these like new growth opportunities, even though I will say I don't think the character grew that much, but still it still gives me the spring vibes. I also think that My Dearest Love is great for the spring because the main character also has these kind of powers where she could just grow plants, which, you know, spring vibes all the way because it's the growing season. The next one is also a Regency inspired novel, and this one is Aphrodite and the Duke, and this one actually does take place during the spring. And I feel like if you really do enjoy like Regency era kind of novels, like you really might enjoy this one. This one follows Aphrodite, who is getting a little bit older and she does need to settle down and get married, as her mother is always saying. But her heart is just kind of stuck with this guy. I forgot his name, but he's the Duke of the town. And like they were supposed to get married, but then something happens where he just gets married to somebody else. I feel like this one gives me spring vibes, not only because it just takes place during the spring, but I feel like from what I remember, like she does go through kind of a change a little bit. She does end up getting married to the Duke, which I don't know if it's spoiler because it's a romance novel, so of course they get together. But I feel like after they get married, like there's a little bit of a growth opportunity, but I'm not sure if she actually grows. I would definitely recommend this one for the spring because even if you're not really into like the whole growing aspect, I do think that this one is great for the spring because it does take place in the spring, since that is when like the whole like coming out and the ton and stuff is like going to happen. The next book that I have is Love in Color by Bolu Babulola, which I really hope that I pronounced her name right. But this is a short story collection that I really enjoyed. It's kind of based off of all of these different like African folktales and myths. Some of the stories are modernized, some of them are actually like retellings, and I really did enjoy this one. I think it's just a short read that you can definitely just read outside in the spring. The next book that I have is Age of Myth by Michael J. Sullivan, and this one has been making its rounds around booktube lately, and this one I'm purely recommending just because it does give you those Lord of the Rings vibes. It's very, I'm not gonna say it gives me like fairy vibes, but I do think that just like the world that they're in, it is a lot of like greenery and just like it gives me like woodlands, like growing season vibes. Next, I would recommend Circe by Madeline Miller, and I feel like everybody really likes The Song of Achilles, which I haven't read yet, but Circe is also a book that I really enjoyed. It's a very slow paced like character study of this, I don't know if she's like a nymph or something. I don't know Greek mythology at all, but I really did enjoy like watching this woman just go through like her life and like just kind of like gain her power back a little bit. She runs away from home and she just kind of deals with like all the obstacles that are coming to her. So I feel like this one is a good book just because she is like coming into herself, because she's been oppressed as like a woman in Greek mythology and just kind of like underestimated. And I feel like this is just a character that just grows into herself. And also there's a section in this book that she is on this island and she's just like growing her own things and just being her own person. And I think she also has a son. I haven't read this in a while, so I'm definitely due for a reread, but I definitely think that this is a great book to read for the spring. The next book that I have is I Almost Forgot About You by Terry McMillan, and this is the only book that I've ever read by her, but this one definitely makes me want to pick up more by this author. This follows an older woman who is just kind of in this season of her life that she just needs to like change things, and so it's kind of a romance, but I feel like it's more women's fiction because the romance doesn't really take place until like maybe like the last few chapters, maybe. Like it's just kind of there, but it's not really like focused on that. I feel like it's really just focused on this woman who is just kind of growing into herself again, like as an older woman, and just like doing more of what she likes now that she doesn't really have like the kids in the house and all of that. But I really did enjoy following this character and just seeing her open herself up a little bit more and just kind of reflect on like how she got to where she is and like the places that she can go. Now I'm going to move on to the books that I haven't read yet, but they still kind of give me spring vibes. And the first one that I want to talk about is This Poison Heart by Kaylin Barron. I haven't really been interested in picking this one up because I feel like the author's writing style is not going to be for me. I'd be happy to be proven wrong on this, so I am going to have to like try this author at least once, and I'm thinking that This Poison Heart is going to be the one that I try. And I feel like this one, she has plant powers. I'm not sure like what it is that she does, but like the cover is just giving me all like the greenery that I really associate with spring. So this one is definitely giving me those spring vibes, and who knows, maybe I'll pick it up this spring. The next one I have is All I've Ever Wanted by A.E. Valdez, and this one I chose just because of like the sunflower that's on the cover. And I feel like from what I've heard of the author interview that I heard on Between the Reads, I feel like this character is also going on kind of like a journey to kind of better her life. I think she was in a abusive relationship before, and then she's moving on to like a new relationship and growing into like a better person and just growing into her life. So I think that this book is definitely giving me the spring vibes. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if it's actually any good, but this is definitely a book that I have on my radar. The next book is actually just a short story, which is called His Good Thing by Faith Arsenault. I love this cover so much. It's just so beautiful with all like the flowers on the cover and just two beautiful Black people just in love. This is a Christian fiction romance, which I haven't read one before, even though I have a few on my TBR that I want to read, but this one, I just love the cover so much. I have no idea what it's about, but the cover is just giving me gorgeous spring vibes. So I'm definitely going to have to see like what the reviews are like on this one to see if I want to pick it up, but this cover is just A+. And the last three that I have are actually fairy books. I think they're all fairy books. But fairies just give me spring vibes for some reason. Maybe because like I'm always just thinking of like woodland fairies or something, but I don't know, they give me spring vibes, and so I have these next three books on this list because of that. The first one I have is Coal by Constance Burrus, and I don't know what this one is about. I've had this one on my TBR for a very long time, so I definitely need to get to it, but this one is giving me the fairy vibes just because of the cover. If anybody has read this one, I'd definitely be curious to know what you think of it, because this is one that I've had on my TBR, but I haven't been itching to pick it up, so I'm definitely going to have to get to that one day, but I would definitely like to know like what to expect with that one. And then the next one is a series called The African Elementals, and elemental magic just gives me spring vibes as well, and this one is just giving me Black girl fairy elemental magic, and so I'm including it on this list. Whether or not it's good, like I don't know since I haven't read it, but it's definitely giving me those spring fairy vibes. And then the last one that I have is The Fae and the Fallen by Brittany Chanel. And this one I know has fairies just because it has Fae in the title. I think the author only writes Asian man, Black woman, but I'm not complaining about that. I just like seeing Black women loved by whoever they're with. So I'm not complaining about that. But this one I also don't know anything about. I've heard great things about this author. I have yet to try her, but I definitely want to try this one, and I am really just enjoying this cover. Like, I really like all of her covers, but this one is definitely just giving me those like darker fairy vibes, but I still get like fae with spring, so maybe this will be a great book to read in the spring as well. But that wraps up all of the books that give me spring vibes. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please leave a flower emoji if you don't have anything to comment, or just let me know like what books give you spring vibes, or if any of these books sound interesting to you. And I guess I will see you in my next video. Bye!